This personal narrative explores purposeful storytelling, focusing on goal setting, self-discipline, learning, and time management. It reflects on resilience, confidence, relationships, and optimism, offering insights into hard work, perseverance, and balance. Inspires to pursue success and fulfillment. Setting goals has always been a cornerstone of my existence, a guiding light that illuminates the path I walk. From the very beginning, I understood the immense power of clearly defined objectives. It's not just about having dreams or vague aspirations. It's about transforming those ideas into tangible milestones that can be pursued with purpose and precision. Early on, I realized that without a roadmap, even the most ambitious visions could get lost in the chaos of daily life. So, I made it a point to sit down regularly and ask myself, what do I truly want? Where am I headed? And how will I know when I've arrived? This process wasn't always easy. At times, it felt overwhelming to confront the enormity of what I hoped to achieve. But over time, I learned to break things down into smaller, more manageable pieces. For instance, instead of saying, I want to succeed, I would define success in specific terms. Whether that meant excelling in a particular skill, reaching a certain level of financial stability, or contributing meaningfully to my community. Each goal became a puzzle piece, fitting together to form a larger picture of who I wanted to become. This clarity gave me direction, allowing me to channel my energy toward actions that aligned with my vision. One of the most transformative moments in my journey came when I embraced the concept of SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This framework revolutionized the way I approached planning. Instead of setting broad, undefined targets, I started crafting goals that were laser-focused and realistic. For example, rather than saying, I want to improve my writing, I set a goal like, I will write 500 words every day for the next 3 months. The specificity forced me to think critically about what I needed to do, while the time-bound aspect created a sense of urgency that kept me accountable. But setting goals is only half the battle. Equally important is revisiting them regularly to assess progress and make adjustments as needed. Life is unpredictable, and circumstances change. What seems achievable one day might feel out of reach the next. That's why I developed the habit of reviewing my goals periodically, not just to track where I stood, but also to ensure they still resonated with my evolving priorities. Sometimes, I discovered that a goal no longer served me, and letting go of it freed up space for something more meaningful. Other times, I found that breaking a goal into even smaller steps was necessary to maintain momentum. Through this practice, I began to notice a profound shift in my mindset. Goals stopped being abstract concepts floating somewhere in the future and became integral parts of my present reality. They shaped my decisions, influenced my daily routines, and fueled my motivation. When challenges arose, and they inevitably did, I had a clear sense of why I was pushing forward. There were days when doubt crept in, whispering that I wasn't good enough or that the effort wasn't worth it. But because my goals were so well defined, I could remind myself of the bigger picture and draw strength from the knowledge that each small step brought me closer to where I wanted to be. Self-discipline played an equally crucial role in helping me stay committed to these goals. Without discipline, all the planning in the world would have amounted to nothing. Discipline is often misunderstood as sheer willpower or an unyielding ability to resist temptation. While those elements are part of it, I've come to see self-discipline as much more than that. It's about creating systems and structures that support your goals, making it easier to stay on track even when motivation wanes. For me, building self-discipline started with understanding my own tendencies. I paid close attention to when I was most productive, what environments helped me focus, and which distractions were hardest to avoid. Armed with this awareness, I designed routines that worked with my natural rhythms rather than against them. For example, I noticed that I was sharpest in the mornings, so I reserved that time for tasks that required deep concentration. In the afternoons, when my energy dipped, I tackled lighter activities or took breaks to recharge. Another key aspect of self-discipline was learning to say no. This was perhaps one of the hardest lessons I had to internalize. Opportunities abound in life, and it's tempting to say yes to everything that comes your way. However, I quickly realized that spreading myself too thin only diluted my efforts and left me feeling scattered. By setting boundaries and prioritizing activities that aligned with my goals, I was able to protect my time and energy for what truly mattered. Consistency was another pillar of my self-discipline journey. I came to understand that progress doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of countless small, deliberate actions repeated over time. Some days, showing up felt effortless. Other days, it took every ounce of determination to keep moving forward. But through it all, I reminded myself that consistency compounds. Even tiny improvements, when sustained over weeks, months, or years, lead to extraordinary results. Continuous learning has been another cornerstone of my personal growth. In a world that's constantly evolving, standing still feels like falling behind. I've always believed that knowledge is power, and the pursuit of learning has enriched my life in ways I never imagined. Whether it's acquiring new skills, exploring different perspectives, or simply staying curious about the world around me, I've made it a priority to remain a lifelong learner. One of the greatest gifts I've given myself is the willingness to embrace discomfort in the name of learning. Growth rarely happens within our comfort zones, and I've found that some of my most valuable lessons have come from stepping into unfamiliar territory. Whether it was taking on a challenging project at work, enrolling in a course outside my area of expertise, or seeking feedback from others, I've learned to view discomfort not as something to avoid but as a sign that I'm pushing my limits. Technology has also been a powerful ally in my quest for continuous learning. Online platforms, podcasts, books, and webinars have made it easier than ever to access information and connect with experts across the globe. I've taken full advantage of these resources, immersing myself in topics that spark my curiosity or enhance my skills. One of the strategies that has worked particularly well for me is setting aside dedicated time each week for learning. Whether it's reading a chapter of a book, watching an educational video, or reflecting on recent experiences, carving out this time ensures that learning remains a consistent part of my routine. Effective time management has been essential in balancing my ambitions with the realities of everyday life. Time is a finite resource, and how we choose to spend it defines the quality of our lives. Early on, I struggled with procrastination and poor prioritization, often finding myself overwhelmed by competing demands. But as I honed my time management skills, I discovered that productivity isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. One of the most impactful changes I made was adopting the Eisenhower Matrix, a tool that helps distinguish between urgent and important tasks. By categorizing my responsibilities this way, I gained clarity on where to focus my energy. Tasks that were both urgent and important took precedence, while those that were neither were either delegated or eliminated altogether. This simple yet powerful framework transformed the way I approached my workload, reducing stress and increasing efficiency. Another game changer was learning to batch similar tasks together. Instead of jumping between unrelated activities, I grouped them by type. For example, responding to emails during designated blocks of time or scheduling creative work for periods when I felt most inspired. This approach minimized context switching, which can be mentally exhausting, and allowed me to enter a state of flow more easily. Of course, no discussion of time management would be complete without addressing the importance of rest and recovery. For years, I fell into the trap of glorifying busyness, equating long hours with productivity. But I eventually learned that sustainable performance requires balance. Taking breaks, getting enough sleep, and engaging in activities that bring joy are not luxuries, they're necessities. By incorporating rest into my schedule, I found that I returned to my work with renewed focus and creativity. Resilience has been a defining characteristic of my journey, particularly in the face of challenges. Life is unpredictable, and setbacks are inevitable. What separates those who thrive from those who falter is not the absence of obstacles but the ability to persevere through them. Over the years, I've encountered my fair share of difficulties, professional disappointments, personal losses, and moments of self-doubt. Yet each challenge has taught me something valuable about myself and strengthened my capacity to endure. One of the most important lessons I've learned is that resilience isn't innate, it's cultivated through experience. Facing adversity head-on forces us to develop coping mechanisms, adapt to changing circumstances, and find strength we didn't know we had. During tough times, I've leaned on several strategies to bolster my resilience. First and foremost is reframing failure as feedback. Rather than viewing setbacks as evidence of inadequacy, I've trained myself to see them as opportunities for growth. Every misstep contains a lesson, and extracting that insight allows me to move forward with greater wisdom. Support systems have also played a critical role in building my resilience. Surrounding myself with people who believe in me, even when I struggle to believe in myself, has been a lifeline during difficult periods. Friends, family, mentors, and colleagues have offered encouragement, perspective, and practical advice when I needed it most. Their presence reminds me that I'm not alone and that asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Perhaps the most profound realization I've had about resilience is that it's deeply tied to purpose. When I'm connected to a sense of meaning, whether it's pursuing a passion, supporting loved ones, or contributing to a cause greater than myself, I find the inner reserves to push through even the toughest situations. Knowing that my efforts matter gives me the courage to keep going, even when the road ahead seems uncertain. Self-confidence has been both a driving force and a work in progress throughout my life. Like many people, I've grappled with self-doubt and imposter syndrome, questioning whether I'm capable or worthy of achieving my goals. But over time, I've come to understand that confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build through action and reflection. One of the most effective ways I've cultivated self-confidence is by celebrating small wins. Success doesn't always come in grand, dramatic gestures. Often, it's the accumulation of incremental achievements that builds momentum. Acknowledging these victories, no matter how minor they may seem, reinforces the belief that I'm capable of making progress. For example, completing a challenging task, receiving positive feedback, or simply sticking to a commitment boosts my confidence and motivates me to tackle the next challenge. Another powerful tool in my confidence-building arsenal has been visualization. Before embarking on a daunting endeavor, I take a few moments to imagine myself succeeding. Picturing the outcome I desire, not just the result but the emotions and sensations associated with it, helps quiet the voice of doubt and primes me for action. Visualization isn't magic, but it's a reminder that I've overcome similar challenges before and can do so again. Building positive relationships has been one of the most rewarding aspects of my journey. Human connection is fundamental to happiness and fulfillment, and I've invested significant time and energy into nurturing meaningful bonds with others. Relationships aren't built overnight. They require patience, empathy, and mutual respect. Through trial and error, I've learned that authenticity is the foundation of any strong relationship. Being genuine, sharing my true thoughts, feelings, and vulnerabilities, creates trust and invites others to do the same. Active listening has been another critical component of building positive relationships. Too often, we're so focused on what we want to say that we fail to truly hear the other person. By practicing mindful listening, paying attention to their words, tone, and body language, I've deepened my understanding of others and strengthened our connections. Listening isn't just about hearing. It's about validating someone's experience and showing that their perspective matters. Generosity has also played a central role in my relational philosophy. Whether it's offering support during tough times, celebrating someone's successes, or simply lending a helping hand, acts of kindness foster goodwill and reinforce the bonds we share. I've found that giving freely, without expecting anything in return, creates a ripple effect that enriches both parties involved. Positivity and optimism have been guiding principles in navigating life's ups and downs. While it's unrealistic to expect constant sunshine, maintaining a hopeful outlook has helped me weather storms with grace and resilience. Optimism isn't about ignoring difficulties or pretending everything is fine when it's not. Instead, it's about believing in the possibility of better days and taking proactive steps to create them. One of the practices that has bolstered my optimism is gratitude. Regularly reflecting on the things I'm thankful for shifts my focus from what's lacking to what's abundant in my life. Even during challenging times, there are always silver linings, lessons learned, strengths discovered, or moments of beauty amid the chaos. Gratitude transforms my perspective, reminding me that life is a mosaic of highs and lows, each contributing to the richness of the whole. Surrounding myself with positivity has also been instrumental in fostering an optimistic mindset. The people we spend time with influence our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. By choosing to engage with individuals who radiate kindness, encouragement, and hope, I've created an environment that nurtures my spirit and inspires me to see the best in every situation. Positivity is contagious, and immersing myself in it amplifies its effects. Hard work and perseverance have been non-negotiable elements of my journey. Success rarely comes without sacrifice, And I've learned that persistence is often the difference between those who achieve their goals and those who fall short. Hard work isn't glamorous, and it certainly isn't easy. It involves showing up day after day, putting in the effort even when the payoff isn't immediate, and staying committed despite obstacles. Perseverance, in particular, has been a muscle I've had to strengthen over time. There have been moments when giving up seemed like the easier option. The allure of comfort and familiarity can be seductive, especially when faced with prolonged struggles. But I've come to appreciate that perseverance is less about brute force and more about adaptability. Flexibility in approach, coupled with unwavering determination, allows me to navigate setbacks without losing sight of the ultimate objective. Celebrating milestones along the way has been crucial in sustaining my motivation. Recognizing the progress I've made, no matter how incremental, provides a sense of accomplishment that fuels further effort. Perseverance isn't about denying fatigue or frustration, it's about acknowledging them and continuing anyway, driven by the belief that the destination is worth the journey. Work-life balance has been a delicate dance, requiring constant recalibration to align with my evolving needs and priorities. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to blur the lines between professional responsibilities and personal well-being. For years, I subscribed to the notion that working harder and longer equated to greater success. But I eventually realized that burnout doesn't serve anyone. Not me, not my loved ones, and not my work. Achieving balance has required intentional choices and boundary setting. One of the most liberating decisions I made was establishing clear boundaries around my time. For example, I committed to leaving work at a reasonable hour, reserving evenings for relaxation and connection with family and friends. Similarly, I carved out weekends as sacred spaces for rest and rejuvenation, free from the pressures of deadlines and obligations. Mindfulness has been another invaluable tool in maintaining work-life harmony. By staying present in each moment, I've learned to savor the joys of life outside of work, whether it's enjoying a meal, taking a walk in nature, or engaging in a hobby. These moments of mindfulness remind me that life is more than a series of accomplishments. It's a tapestry of experiences that deserve my full attention. Ultimately, work-life balance isn't about achieving perfection. It's about striving for alignment. Some seasons demand more focus on work, while others call for greater emphasis on personal pursuits. By remaining flexible and attuned to my needs, I've been able to create a rhythm that honors both aspects of my life without sacrificing one for the other. In reflecting on my journey, I'm struck by how interconnected these elements are. Setting clear goals provides direction, while self-discipline ensures follow-through. Continuous learning fuels growth, and effective time management maximizes productivity. Resilience helps navigate challenges, and self-confidence empowers bold action. Building positive relationships fosters belonging, and positivity sustains hope. Hard work and perseverance drive achievement, and work-life balance preserves harmony. Together, they form a holistic framework for living a fulfilling and meaningful life, a testament to the power of intentionality, effort, and heart.